Metamagic options. Oh boy. Following options are available to your Metamagic features. The options are presented in alphabetical order. Sure. Distance spells returns to doubling range. What did this used to be? What did they change this to? Spells ranged by a number of feet equal to 30 times your sorcerer level. Oh. 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 Right. they made it 30 feet for each of your sorcerer levels, which means like at level 10 or whatever, you get like 300 additional feet on most of your spells. Yeah, no, that's probably not a bad idea. Seeking spell now costs 1 point instead of 2. Oh, just re-roll the d20 and use the new roll. Oh, and oh, okay. Subtle spell now clarifies that it doesn't remove material components that have a cost specified. Because subtle spell only gets rid of them. Wait, what does subtle spell get rid of? Wait, that was already there. Is that just a clarification? Okay. Twin Spell has some of its previous multi-targeting functionality, but now within appropriate limits. I'll be the judge of that. Because yeah. Wait, what? What did Twin Spell used to be in the previous playtest? When you cast a spell of 1st to 5th level that you can also cast on your previous turn by expending a spell slot, you can fuel this turn's casting of the spell by spending a number of sorcery points. Right, you can just quote-unquote twin the spell by casting it again without using a spell slot. Right. So they actually twinned it again, which... okay. I think twin's always been one of the more broken ones, but it was just less broken because there were so many ridiculous limitations on it. What were the previous changes? Okay, right. So careful when you cast a spell that forces other creatures to make a saving throw. Protect some of those creatures. Chosen creature automatically... Right. Because they did change this. So they changed careful in the previous one where you pretty much you succeed on the save, but you also don't take any damage if you would take half, because originally you'd still take half damage. So now you can just chuck a fireball, make it careful, and all of your allies won't take any damage, which I do think is was a good change for careful. So distance now just doubles the spell's range, and if it's touch, you can make it 30 feet, which I think is fine. I think I was one of the, I don't remember if so, but I'm pretty sure I was one of the people that was like saying the distance spell had become ridiculously broken. Cause like by level 5, you're literally doubling the range on your fireball, and then you get to level 6 and you're over doubling your fireball. Like by level 10, you're literally just going half the bloody continent. Like, what was the maximum that you could get to, technically? 600 plus 150, 750? Isn't that like half? No, that's not half a mile. A mile is 500, is like 5,000 feet, but still, 750 feet fireball? Jesus, I don't even want to know. Empowered spell. I don't think they changed this at any points. You just use new rolls. Extended spell, you can make the duration and double it. Oh right, and you get advantage on concentration saves. Which is a decent buff. I think extended was always something that wasn't really used. It's good on stuff like invisibility and shit if you really want to go and scout out stuff, but you know. Heightened oh right, became 2 sorcery points. Yeah. Yeah, heightened spell became a lot better. I think this was indeed like too high cost. Especially because it used to be only against the first save. Quicken spell. When you cast a spell, there's a casting time of action. 2 sorcery points to change the casting time to a bonus action. You can't modify a spell in this way if you've already cast a spell of level 1 or higher on the current turn, nor can you cast a spell of level 1 or higher on this turn after modifying a spell in this way. Oh, right, yeah. I was just thinking, because I remember this is technically supposed to be the rule, right? If you cast a spell as a bonus action, you can't cast another spell as an action. That's technically a rule. I just looked back at the previous playtests. They actually mentioned there that they added this line because people thought this was an exception to the rule, where you could quicken a spell and then normal cast a spell, which, by the way, I think is Critical Role's fault. Because their sorcerer player, whose name escapes me, used to do this, I think used to be able to do this, and then Matt at a certain point in time said, nah, we're gonna turn this, we're gonna maximally allow you to do it up to 2nd level. But to be fair, if you don't say that enough and people miss it a couple of times, they don't realize that this is a homebrew rule in campaign 1. So yeah. Oh well. Seeking spell now costs 1 sorcery point, which I think is fine. Like, here's the thing, right? I think attack rolls for a spell don't happen that often. They really don't. Like, you have Scorching Ray, you have... There's so little spells, God. I think even Witch Bolt is a thingy as well. Catapult is a save. You have Guiding Bolt, but that's not a sorcerer spell technically, although you could technically get Divine Sorcerer later. So yeah, you don't have that many. There is a 1st level spell that does this as well, that has an attack roll on sorcerer. What am I thinking of? There's a 1st level spell, Chromatic Orb, right? Yeah, Chromatic Orb has an attack roll. Ice Knife technically too. Is Ray of Sickness? Or is Ray of Sickness a save? Make a ranged spell attack. Ray of Sickness is also an attack roll. Yeah, okay. But there's not that many spells that like allow you to make an attack roll. So this is fine. And you can also use it alongside another Metamagic option. Which I find it weird that they put that on Seeking Spell, but I guess. Subtle. When you cast a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery point to cast it without any verbal, somatic, or material components, except material components that are consumed by the speller that have a cost specified in the spell. Did anyone actually read this wrongly in the previous version? Oh, okay. Right, now I get it. In the previous version, it was except material components that are consumed by the spell. Now it says except material components that are consumed by the spell or that have a cost, like this part got added, or that have a cost specified in the spell. Because things like, technically, in other words, you'd be able to subtle spell scrying, right? Because scrying does have a cost specified to it, but it doesn't have a material component that gets consumed. Which, to be fair, that makes sense, because it doesn't make sense that you scry without, like, the mirror that you scry in. No matter whether or not you do it subtly or not, you know. Transmuted spell can change the damage type. Was this changed? Oh, it's just been imported, right? And then twin spell. Cast spells such as Charm Person or Hold Person can be cast with a higher level spell slot to target an additional creature. You can spend 1 sorcery point to increase the spell's effective level by 1. Oh! Okay. Oh! It's a weird way to fix that. But I do get it. I get it. No, I do get it. Because that's what they were saying, right? Like, that's what they said in the previous version as well. Twin Spell has been redesigned. 2014 version was too powerful. Basically allowed you to cast 2 spells on the same turn. So it made sense that they nerfed this because apparently it's too broken. Although I've seen very little people. I don't think our sorcerer never actually twinned stuff. But then again, he was playing a sorcerer Din, so This, to be fair, I will say this: the biggest issue with twinned that we used to have wasn't what twinned did. It was the fact that there were so many random limitations on it that it was very difficult to figure out which spells you were able to use, like which spells you were able to twin and which ones you weren't. Right? Because, like, what was the original twin spell? When you cast a spell that targets only one creature and doesn't have a range of self, you can spend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level to target a second creature in range with the same spell. Right? But it was like, it was a weird thing. Because I think there was like a giant discussion on whether or not this would work with Booming Blade, for example. To give a dumb example. Like, you know. And another thing is like Scorching Ray. Does it work on Scorching Ray if all 3 of your Scorching Rays target one creature? You know, Fireball. Fireball doesn't work because it does not target only one creature. It's an AoE, but what if you Fireball one creature? It's like, it was a really weird thing. I remember this. So yeah, I think this is probably a better way to do it. It's cleaner, honestly. Just for that, it's cleaner. It's so much cleaner to do it this way. So yeah, I think this is a decent change. I have not said a lot of negative stuff again. Is this actually going to be the version that makes me like... No, it's not. No, it's not. But anyway.